Hey guys, be sure to check out the Mortar Pod, our weekly video podcast, and also check out the tutorial video for my board game, Travelers of Storia. Hey everybody, Alex from SeemsGoodMagic.com here, and we're doing a Khans of Tarkir Swiss draft. We've got Trail of Mystery, which is a card I haven't played yet. I don't think it's a super impressive card. I feel like I've beat it more than I've lost to it. In fact, I can't even recall a time I have lost to it. So, not the strongest card. However, this pack is actually light in really good cards in general. That might be an indicator to take the Swiftwater Cliffs and move on. Just get some nice fixing early on. I could probably get behind that, but keep in mind Trail of Mystery is kind of fixing too. It does reward you for playing a lot of morphs and lets you ramp whenever you play them, which is pretty nice actually. I mean, there's certainly enough upside to Trail of Mystery to try it. Otherwise, I'd probably just take a Student or a Swift Spear, which is nice and aggressive. I'm actually interested in the fixing. Trail of Mystery is cool, but I'm not a huge proponent of the card. I'm not going to lie. Most of the experience I've had with it has been underwhelming, and there wasn't anything else in there that was super... What does this guy do? Can't be countered. Creature spells you can't be countered. Other creatures you control have trample. 5 mana, 6/6. That guy is pretty efficient. There's also Jeskai Charm, both of which are on color, by the way. So really, he doesn't have trample of himself, but the fact that he has flash, I think, makes this guy actually incredibly good. I just realized he had flash too, so yes. You can pretty much completely disregard the can't be countered creature spells you can't be countered. Creature spells you control can't be countered, but giving your other guys trample as well as having flash, I would say makes this a phenomenal, very powerful card. And the fact that the guy took a common over it is also a little bit surprising. Guess it could have been one of the lands, but yeah, that is very strange. But I think this guy's pretty awesome. I haven't played with or against him yet either, so certainly intrigued by him. Past the Ascendancy. Well, this works pretty well with Surak Dragonclaw. What else would it work well with? It gives all your guys haste, which is good. Let's make sure there's nothing else. The nice thing is there's really not much of anything else in Temur that we're interested in beyond the Ascendancy. We've got a Dragon Scale boon, which is certainly playable. Got an Active Treason, which is okay, but usually better if you've got a nice beatdown strategy. Beyond that, not too much. So let's just take another rare here, get this Ascendancy, I think. Haven't played with the Temur Ascendancy yet, but I imagine it's pretty good if you have enough fat-powered guys. Alpine Grizzly comes to mind as being a really nice card with this, as is the Bear's Companion. Okay, so now we have Thornwood Falls versus Mystic Monastery. Even though the Thornwood Falls would give us better access to green, I think the Monastery is the better pick. It opens us up for white potential while simultaneously fixing us for our red and blue, so I like it. Does not gain us a life, however, but I still think Monastery is definitely the pick. Singing Bellstrike, playable card. I don't like it in slower decks, which I guess we're not necessarily, but I guess overall I'm a little bit underwhelmed by Singing Bellstrike, despite losing to it occasionally. Monastery Flock, also a card I've actually come to like quite a bit, although admittedly a bit underwhelming with the Ascendancy. And Canyon Lurkers, surprisingly good with the Ascendancy, but still not the pick over the awesome fixing in Mystic Monastery. There's our Bear's Companion. And really not too much else competition for the pick. Awaken the Bear, I do love this card. It's a great card. Excellent combat trick. Just an amazing way to finish your opponent off, especially when you put it on top of Dragonclaw. But I think we're easily taking Bear's Companion here. It's just a phenomenal card in general, and more so because we have the Ascendancy for all the extra value. Both Awaken the Bear and Longshot Squad. Longshot Squad in particular, not so good with Ascendancy, but there is still a chance that we table one of these Canyon Lurkers, and I guess you do have to hard cast it to really get that extra card draw, but Giving him trample with Dragon Claw too is not to be overlooked. So happily picking up a Bear's Companion. Okay, so options now. There's Blossoming Sands, which continues to help us splash for white. There's also Awaken the Bear, though, which, as I just went over, I really do like Awaken the Bear a lot. Hordeling Outburst is a reasonable card. I just guess I'm not really feeling it in a deck like this. Is Awaken the Bear better than Blossoming Sands? That's a reasonable question. I think it really boils down to if I see a white pick that I want to splash, then I definitely am going to want this Blossoming Sands, but how much am I going to want this Awaken the Bear? You know, I usually like the Awaken the Bear. I'm going to take the bear over the land here. I mean, if I can make just Temur work, I'd like that. I would probably prefer that. See, like Watcher of the Roost and Sage Eye Harrier aren't really that great, or at least really worth the splash. Mardu Warshrieker is certainly worth playing since it can get us a Morph guy out a little bit easier. The white and black mana is pretty much irrelevant in this build, but that's okay. There's still plenty of good picks to go alongside Warshrieker. Besides any Morph card, you've also got the 3-drop red Prowess guy that both works well with Warshrieker as well as Awaken the Bear. So let's take the Warshrieker. All right, back-to-back Warshrieker. I could also take the Singing Bellstrike here, but I'm a little less interested, to tell you the truth. Like I said, just not a huge fan of this card unless you're very beat down, whereas Warshrieker is typically good when you're in red, regardless of whether you're Mardu or something else. Let's see here. Whirlwind Adept, not super playable. Much more playable alongside Barrage of Boulders. And to be perfectly honest, a lot of our deck actually seems like it could very easily run a Barrage of Boulders to finish people off. Here, I guess there's a chance I play Blazebringer because it works reasonably well with Ascendancy. It also cuts red for us, I guess, and it also is playable off of Warshrieker, so there's at least enough reasons to play it where I want it there. Here I can take the Ambusher, which definitely works well with the Ascendancy in that it has haste, but I gotta say, Crippling Chill is just a little bit too powerful, I think, to pass up here. And even though I guess the actual blue cards we have are in multicolor, I still think Crippling Chill is just an awesome card. Really like it a lot. I think we can easily take Wetland Sandbar here. Tusked Colossedon is a little easier to come by later. And Wetland Sandbar is a nice, not a great 2-drop, but if there's anything I've learned about this format, you want some 2-drops. All right, we can take the Bellstriker, we can take the Barrage here. Like I said, the Barrage is going to work really well with probably the majority of our creatures. That being said, I probably could still play Singing Bellstrike. So I guess I'll take it. What I'm thinking is I probably am going to see another Barrage of Boulders. If I don't, there's a slight issue, but if you don't end up with Barrage of Boulders, it's certainly not the end of the world. I think we'll let our opponents play Brave the Sands. Try and give an indication to that direction that we're likely not in white, despite having the Mystic Monastery. Okay, pack 2. Well, Winter Flame is certainly a reasonable card. Leaping Master, Jeskai Wind Scout is very good. I have to think about this. Okay, I know that red-blue can work pretty well together. I think the issue with the Jeskai Wind Scout in this build is Warshrieker is unable to go into the Wind Scout, which is definitely something to think about. However, that being said, I think Wind Scout is still presumably the best card in here since it has flying and prowess, which is very good. Could take the Winter Flame though, since it is actual removal. I mean, it's debatable. There's a good debate to that. Winter Flame's more color intensive, but Wind Scout is not removal, whereas Winter Flame kills Morph all day, as well as tap things down. I think there's probably enough upside to the removal here to take it over the flyer. Okay, so we've got Bring Low, which is removal. We have Temur Charger, which I do actually like. It morphs. Giving the trample is not always relevant, but and it also does not activate our Ascendancy. Summit Prowler does activate our Ascendancy, but it's, I would say, a significantly worse card than Temur Charger. Really the question is, do I want to focus on the red-blue base or the green-red or green-blue? I think I want to focus on red-blue. I believe I want to focus on red-blue, which makes the Temur Charger a slightly more awkward pick. You can play it as a morph though, so that makes it much easier possibly to narrow in on it. Same sort of deal with Highland Game where it's just not quite as impressive. I feel like we can table a Summit Prowler all day. Could also take the Bring Low, which is reasonable and playable, and it is removal. I guess I'll take the removal that I think we're just 100% playing over the card that is probably playable in here, but just a little bit less interesting. Warname Aspirant is certainly reasonable. Summit Prowler, Glacial Stalker, Leaping Master as well. I think I can comfortably take a Warname Aspirant here, get a nice 2-drop. Also is playable off the War Shrieker, which is a nice little perk as well. I feel like we gotta table one of these Summit Prowlers, right? Even if we don't, the Glacial Stalker is actually pretty good because if we hard cast it with Ascendancy, we get to draw. I think the issue with Ascendancy is it kind of sucks with Raid because Raid wants you to play post-combat, whereas giving your guys haste, that sort of makes sense to me now. So these are a little bit, there's a little bit of lack of synergy there. That could be an issue, but I think it is just fine to take the Aspirant here, which is a nice 2-drop. 2-drops are a good luxury to have. Okay, now we can take the Barrage of Boulders, but I think we probably take the Burn Away here pretty easily. There's also Embodiment, which is on color technically, but we seem to be very light in green, so I think focusing on the blue-red is correct, and getting the Burn Away here seems pretty legitimate since we're going to have a really nice curve of a removal. Otherwise, Valley Dasher and Barrage of Boulders both seem like, and even Scion of Glaciers, all of those seem pretty reasonable. I think another issue we have to think about is if we're splashing green, it kind of sucks that our 2 fixing spells are non-green fixers. But regardless, they still help make our mana base a bit better. All right, so like here we can take the Opulent Palace and get a green and a blue fixer. I think that's worlds above everything else here for us. Woolly Loxodon would be acceptable, but it would actually be fine. But yeah, I think we just easily take Palace here and get a nice piece of fixing. Okay, here we've got Tracker. Smoke Teller's fine, but it's just our splash green color, so I like it less. Abomination is possible because of the Opulent Palace. I'm just not really feeling it. Roar of Challenge to me sort of acts the same way that Barrage of Boulders does. Both of them essentially win the game if you have Ferocious and enough of a board presence. So I guess, Roar of Challenge certainly seems like a card that would be worthy of splash, especially if we don't end up with a Barrage of Boulders. So I'll get behind that. It's either that or an Inoc Tracker. And I guess actually the Tracker works better with the War Shriekers for morph purposes, but that's okay. I'll still take a Roar of Challenge there and accept it. I don't have a problem with that card. I think it's actually a really good card. Incremental Growth, geez. There's Scaldkin, but Alpine Grizzly is kind of calling my name, I gotta admit. I know we're lightish green, but I feel like Grizzly is certainly better than Scaldkin, especially in this deck with the Ascendancy. Incremental Growth's good too, but getting the double green's going to be challenging. I mean, we could just take the Scaldkin. This is a pretty average card. I'm going to take the Grizzly. I think Grizzly might actually be good enough, even if it's our, third color. I think we slam Master the Way here, likely. I do like both Crippling Chill, Leaping Master, and Sandbar, but Master the Way is just, I love that card. Master the Way is an excellent, excellent removal spell. Not only can it kill your opponent, it always cantrips. It's just a great card. Alright, well, we've got Glacial Stalker or Leaping Master now. Well, we can't... Well, I guess actually we can theoretically get flying off of the Leaping Master, but I think we want the Glacial Stalker for two very important reasons. We have double War Shrieker, so being able to morph it out is phenomenal, but secondly, and possibly more importantly, if we hard cast it with an Ascendancy out, we get to attack with a 4-power haste guy and get to draw a card. That, to me, seems like a pretty substantial upside. Guess we'll take the Naturalize for some sideboard action. Sometimes you gotta deal with those pesky artifacts and enchantments. Let's move this thing over. And is that our only morph guy? That can't be right. We ended up with one morph guy? That's crazy. Never had so few. Well, we did table the Summit Prowler. It's great news, and we're likely to play it. Well, I guess Embodiment is an option. The nice thing is it doesn't have Defender, so I can attack with it and still cast a turn 2 Warname Aspirant. It's pretty unlikely to happen. I think another unfortunate aspect of Embodiment of Spring is it's just not that good on the splash when you're splashing to make it have rampant growth. Just does not seem to pan out as well. I think I'm more worried about losing to Snakeskin, and we're not very likely at all to play Abzan Banner. Alright, I guess technically Taigam's Scheming is playable, but I don't think this is the deck for it. Maybe if there was some more Delve in here, I could see it, but no Delve, and I'm not really interested. We have some decent fixing, though. Alright, Mantis Rider, is he still worth something? I gotta look that up. Looks like he's not worth anything anymore. Do I still want to splash for him off of our Monastery? I mean, he's certainly a powerful card, but does not seem like something we necessarily want to do. It seems a bit greedy. I guess we take another Grizzly. They still work with the Ascendancy pretty well. I mean, I admit we're kind of screwing up our plan a little bit in terms of focusing on the red-blue, but Grizzly's still good enough. Whatever. Grizzly's a great card. I'm a big fan. Another Trail of Mystery. Well, we didn't have enough morph before. I doubt we have enough morph now. Loxodon here seems fine. Just don't have enough morph to make these work. Skaldkin is playable as well. I think we're a little more interested in the Loxodon since works better with the War Shriekers and hard casting a late game to get a 6/7. And well, I don't think that's super likely to happen, but it's possible. And I don't think that we need the banner, although the banner is fine too. Usually banners are better in decks that have low morph, and we do have low morph, so it's certainly an option I should be aware of, but I think having the Loxodon's nice, because then my finishers are like Dragon Claw, Companion, Loxodon, Stalker, and the rest is just sort of clean up and buy some time. Yeah, I think I'm going to take the Loxodon. I like that. Alright. I think we take the Thornwood Falls here. Let's just guarantee ourselves some more on-color fixing, especially for the green. So this card's very important to our deck right now. Seeker of the Way is super strong. Another Grizzly would be cool. I've always wanted to play the super high Grizzly count deck because I never get that deck going. But I don't think we're going to get more than 2. Maybe we will. Treasure Cruise would actually be... I just love this card. I watched LSV play this in Modern, and it really felt broken. It felt like Ancestral Recall every time. Wait, is that the right Ancestral? Yeah, I think so. You know what I'm talking about. Power 9. Let's take the Thornwood Falls here. Get that fixing. Become Immense is certainly a good card. Mandrills is okay as well. Glacial Stalker. Number 2, certainly an option. Witness of the Ages. I think I'd rather just play the Stalker. Although Witness is less color intensive, but pretty much, it's almost identical to Glacial Stalker. It has one less toughness, but same amount of everything else, just in colorless form. I guess well, now that I'm looking, I guess I'm a little bit light on blue, aren't I? Not like super light on blue. Maybe I'm more red-green base and then splash blue. Guess that's an option as well. If that's the case, then maybe I want the Witness. Although mandrills can be pretty good too. I just don't know if we're doing enough early to get that mandrills down. And Become Immense is really good too. That's tough. I'm going to take the Witness. It morphs, so it's off a War Shrieker very nicely. And it's certainly a reasonable card. Jeskai Elder is a very good card. I'm less convinced this is a heavy blue deck now. I feel like it's much more of a red-green deck. Splashing blue, so like probably ending up cutting those. Could just take War Shrieker number 3. Could take the Force away, which is pretty reasonable splash, I would say. I don't like how few things we can get off of the War Shrieker, which makes me not want to take the third one. I mean, we have a few morph guys, but I do feel like I'm low enough on morph where it's not going to work out. Guess I'll take the Force away. It's certainly, I mean, to me, it's more splashable than Singing Bellstrike, I think. Let's see here. We've got mandrills, but I think I guess the Flare works worse with the Ascendancy, doesn't it? So mandrills could be the argument there, but I just think Sultai Flare is better. I think Sultai Flare is a better card than mandrills. And do we even have enough 4 toughness guys, though? I mean, the beautiful thing is he works well with himself, but we also have, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Guess we only have 5 guys that interact with him, but that's probably enough. Having 6 including himself, yeah, we'll take him. We shall take him. Okay, so we can take another Glacial Stalker. We can take the Alpine Grizzly here. Yeah, I want the Grizzly. I just want to run infinite Grizzly Bear deck because it seems really fun to me. These guys are awesome. They trade up. Look at this. They trade with an Abzan Guide. They trade up all the time. Excellent defensively. Obviously good offensively. Yeah, we got to take the Grizzly. God, I wish the War Shrieker could go into the Grizzly. It would make it so much better. I guess we'll take the Aerialist. Seems like this card is just very good. And Glacial Stalker and the War Shrieker are both fine, but let's just get a nice... I mean, Aerialists seem like certainly worth the splash. I don't know if we want a second Roar of Challenge. I don't know if I'd run 2. We already have to make some cuts, to be honest, so... I think we're more likely to take a card just like Windstorm and sideboard it. We didn't end up with the Barrage of Boulders, but ending up with a Roar of Challenge, like I said, is it's very close to the same thing. It's different, but it's very close. They're very similar. All right, Scaldkin is an option. This doesn't really feel like an active treason deck, but it could be. Actually, I mean, thing is, that sucks off a War Shrieker too. You want to do it before. I guess we'll take the Scaldkin just because it's a reasonable pick. All right, we'll take the Treasure Cruise here. I think there's a pretty decent chance we play it. Become Immense tabling is pretty insane. I'll take that over the Weave Fate. We certainly have to make some cuts, but I think Blazebringer can get the axe pretty easily. And maybe we cut some of our early blue. End up slightly slower, but probably more of a direction I'm going to like, I think. It's very unlikely I would sideboard into a Shatter if I already have a Naturalize. So I guess I could have just taken the banner, but I don't really care if my opponents play banners. So this is 28 cards, not counting the lands. What are some cuts I should do in here? That is the question. 2 Delve cards that are both kind of expensive. It's a bit worrisome, but We'll figure this out. Let's see here. Oh, well, you're playable too, but I don't think we are playing you. I think I am cutting back on the blue, so let's cut the Singing Bellstrike and the Sandbar. Force Away is, like I said, a pretty reasonable splash still. So then I just need to make 3 cuts. I think Winter Flame, Crippling Chill are both certainly worthy of a splash as well. Um, hmm. Maybe the Prowler gets the axe just because my mana wasn't quite good enough to make it work, despite it being pretty good with Ascendancy. I think we're probably cutting the Prowler. Although that does lower our creature count to a point that makes me a bit uncomfortable. So maybe we do have to cut the Become Immense or the Treasure Cruise, one of our Delve cards, since we don't really have a ton of Delve fuel. I guess we probably cut the Treasure Cruise. Just the idea of combining Awaken the Bear with Become Immense is pretty attractive. I think we're just got to make one more cut, and we got ourselves a deck. It's probably one of our removal spells, or it's either one of our removal spells or a one of our tricks, whatever. One of our non-creature spells. 14 is already a bit low. Not terribly low, but lower than I like. Everything else we have is very good. I do like our creature base quite a bit. The Warname Aspirant feels a bit out of place, but it's certainly still fine. I mean, I at least want a 2-drop creature. I mean, how good is Roar of Challengeneer? It's pretty good. We've got all of these ferocious guys. The Ascendancy is great in here too because we have triple Alpine Grizzly. Look at how many things activated. We got 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. That is a lot of creatures actually that activate Ascendancy and get us a card. That's pretty wonderful. I really do have to come up with a good cut here. So what of these spells is the weakest? Possibly Bring Low. Bring Low is a fine card in a vacuum, but maybe it's between the Winter Flame and the Bring Low. The only reason I'm even considering the Winter Flame is because, like I said, we're a little bit light blue. So I may just want the consistency of being able to hit Bring Low over the hoping to hit blue. Like if I cut the Winter Flame, I might be able to relax how many blue sources I have in this deck. Scaldkin, I guess, is a bit more awkward because of that same sort of thing where it doesn't exactly feel worthy of a splash, but at the same time, I kind of need it. I think almost for like curve purposes, I might prefer to have the Bring Low. It's like our only 4-mana trick. This just like kills Morph Day and taps a creature, that is really good. I really do like Winter Flame too, especially offensively or defensively. And it's a good cost. It's really tough to argue against the Winter Flame, but yeah, I think of our spells, those are the 2 I'm looking at. I mean, alternatively, I can cut the Crippling Chill or the Force Away. I think I'd rather cut the Force Away than the Crippling Chill, but I like that Force Away is nice 2-drop, but I guess that's less relevant because it's on the splash, since blue is our lightest color. So, alright, I think I'll just run Winter Flame and Bring Low over the Force Away. Force Away is fine, but I'd still like to include Become Immense in here because I think it's a very excellent way to finish an opponent off. And we have a lot of other removal, like actual spot removal. We've got, Awaken the Bear Trick, Crippling Chill, Winter Flame, Bring Low, Master, Burn Away. It's a lot. Scaldkin can burn things. In fact, I think I might actually, I'm going to cut the Scaldkin for a Summit Prowler. That's going to minimize blue even more in this deck. And it also gives us another thing that activates the Ascendancy. It does not activate the Flare, so that's a little bit non-synergistic, but It's still a reasonable beater. A little bit color intensive, but also works well with the Awaken the Bear and Roar of Challenge. So, yeah, I've convinced myself. So yeah, I think we're going to run it like this. I do like this deck quite a bit. I think it's potentially very powerful. Let's sort by color here. So mostly, let's combine groups again. All right, mostly green, a little bit of red, and then these are all three. Actually, I see. These two require blue, so I see. And we already have how many sources of red and blue? This is green, blue, red, blue, and that's all of our fixing. Okay. So we've got, what, 4 sources of blue already? That's kind of nice if blue's our splash color. Maybe we can get away with, let's see, how many islands? They say 5 is way too many. I would say 2 maybe. Oops. So then maybe 1 more green source. So what would this be? This would be 3, 6, 8 sources of green, 7 sources of red, and 6 sources of blue. I can probably get behind that. It's not the ideal mana base, but it does sort of check out as being reasonable. Yeah, I think we'll run it like this. So our mana base is possibly worrisome, but it's not terrible. 8 sources of green, right? 8 sources green, 7 sources red, 6 sources blue. One more time, let me take a look. This requires blue and red. This requires all 3. Yeah, all right. I'll get behind it. Try this out. This deck looks pretty fun. It's got a lot of removal. It's got some efficient creatures. We'll try it out. See you round 1.